guys, live on YouTube. Made it through another week. We made it through another day. Happy Friday out there. As I make this, it's a Friday evening, and hope you're doing well, and hope you're staying positive. It's an art to stay positive. It really is. But that's good energy. You need good energy. You need a good mindset. Self care is really the foundation of everything you do in life. Until you can take care of yourself well, you really can't live an inspired life. You can't live a joyful life. You have to learn to take care of yourself well. No one is going to care about you as much as you are. Even your parents, even your lovers, doesn't matter. They love you, but no one knows you like you. So you know what you need to do to put yourself in a good place. Do it. Never forget it. Star Pack on the live check-in. Starpack, what's up? Star Pack says it's payday. Yes, I get paid every other week. So next week is payday for me. But I hope you had a good payday, Star Pack. Andy G, good evening, Sammy. Andy G may be getting that payday because Andy G's into his second week now, right, brother? With your new job, I believe it's the second week, man. Time flies. Good to see you, Andy. Good to see you. Excuse me. Well, Jerry Savage. Hey, God bless. God bless you too, brother. Thank you, Jerry. Hope you had a great day. Hope you had a good week. Good to see you. Appreciate the positive vibes. Yeah, man, that's a great thing. Well, what I want to talk about tonight, and again, keep the live comments coming, and we're going to get to them. We'll talk about a lot of things tonight. The structured topic, what I'm reflecting on today is step into it. When I was in my youth, one of the sports that I played was baseball. And one of the things that we were coached on is step into the pitch, step into it. You want to step into it and you want to show a level of assertion, confidence, aggression. Life, you have to step into it. You have to step into your job. You have to step up to the plate, and you can't swing timid. You can't swing timid. You have to really swing with an oomph. And that's an important part of life. Now, we need humility. Ego is a killer of talent. Ego is a killer of talent. But being timid does not display your talent. You're not going to hit the ball if you go up to the plate and you're timid. Now, as I said, I remember one time, actually, when I was in like the minor leagues or whatever, when I was a young kid, there was a great pitcher who, I mean, he was pitching probably like faster than any kid of our age group. And his first two pitches that he threw to me totally blew by me. They went so fast, strike one, strike two, and I'm at the plate. I'm like, oh shit. And I was a little scared because they were coming in fast. And so the final pitch, I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to close my eyes and swing as soon as he releases because it's coming so fast. Close my eyes, swing. Sure enough, I hit a home run. It was the only home run I ever hit as a youth baseball player. What was the lesson there? Did I necessarily step into it? No, but high risk, high reward. The pitch was coming so fast and hard, being that I hit it, it went so far. The faster, the harder the challenge, sometimes the greater the reward. But that's a one-off. There's always the general rule, and then there's always exceptions. There's always by chance, there's luck, you need luck, but you also need foundational habits. Meaning that, once in a while you may be able to hit the ball out of the park by just closing your eyes and swinging. But you won't have a good batting average. You won't average out doing good if you don't consistently have habits. And one habit you have to have is you have to show up at work and step into it. You have to step into your task. You shouldn't go there with fear and being timid and trying to figure out, all right, well, what should I do? Step into it. When you meet someone and, you're unsure of yourself, people can sense that. Anyone who's experienced life, it's usually the confident person that's able to, get the date, that's able to attract others. Confidence is key to life. And that's all part of stepping into it. Most people don't know what the hell they're doing. So sometimes you see someone with confidence, you say, oh, this fucking person knows what to do. But really they don't. Many times it's just a show. Now, I don't co-sign that because, again, I think that's too much ego. I think ego kills talent. I believe you have to step into it. You have to have confidence, but you also have to understand that sometimes you have to ask questions. You have to ask questions. Smart people ask good questions. So that balance of thought is key to getting where you want to be in life. You know, because in life in general, you have to step into it. You can't wake up waiting for life to happen to you. You have to wake up with an intention, with a action plan, with an aggression. If you don't, you'll sleep too late. You'll fumble through the day. You won't get traction. Uh, you just won't make as much progress as you have potential. So remember that the first day at your job, step into it. Ask good questions, be humble, but show, step into that position. When you go on a date, when you meet somebody you like, I mean, that's not my thing. If you watch this long enough, I love being single and put all caps on that. I love being single. But I think there's something to be said when, even if you're not the greatest looking of person, if you have confidence and you step into it, like, you meet somebody and you ask, you present yourself well and clear, good thing. Andy G says, yep, finished up second week. All good. Hey, patience is the key. Hey, Sam, how are you, patience? Jimmy James. Hey, Sam, good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing good, Jimmy. Jimmy, everybody's working for the weekend. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I certainly understand that. I mean, I think there's a season of your life where you have to do what you don't want to do to be able to position yourself to do what you want to do. Life always has a level of work, but certainly when you are living light, when you are living below your means, you have more options and you can choose when you want to work and when you don't, to some extent. Okay, put that in context. But when you own your life, when you're not buried in debt, when you're not living above your means, when you don't have too many things, you can have more control over your life and you will live more inspired every day. Why do people wait for the weekend? I mean, most people don't do anything magically new each weekend, but there's just a sense of relief. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but I don't want to have the robot mindset of, I want to try to build a life and continue to build a life that every day is a weekend to some extent. Okay, you have to put that in context because certainly, I have a full-time job. There's days that, look, I'd rather be doing different things, but part of that is still, you pay your dues for a season, and maybe down the road as I continue to do what I need to do, I'll position myself more and more to do the things I want to do. I mean, it's paid off so far. I mean, so I used to work, a lot of overtime. I used to, work 60 hours a week plus to keep up with the things I owned and to, to establish my career. And there is a season you have to do that. But then, too, as I leveled out and I started to realize that, look, I can downsize some things. And even if I work, I can use that money that I'm getting to save up and to live a better quality life and to do more things I want down the road. Some people look at, well, I can only retire at this age because this is how much I need per month. Look, you can retire at 25. If you know you need $4,000 a month or $2,000 a month take home, and, you can figure out a way to do that. If you can clean, houses and you can make $150 a day, 5-6 days a week, then you may be able to retire and have your own cleaning business. It's all a matter of the numbers. So on average, if you worked 250 days out of the year, which is just about every weekday, including, and then that excludes holidays, it's on average 250 days a year are about the average net work days of the year. If you made $400 in 250 days, you basically can clear $1,000. We're not clear, but you can make $1,000 in 250 days. If you can make $250, basically 5 days a week. If you can do a job to make $250 a day, you can make $50,000. How many dogs do you have to walk? How many houses do you have to clean? How many ceiling fans do you have to hang? How many lawns do you have to cut? How many houses do you have to paint? Is that hard? It is hard. I mean, it's hard to make $50,000 a year. That's not an easy thing. But it can be done. How should you view every problem? Every problem should be broken down into small steps. Lower your expenses, and those things are possible. So there's different dynamics, but these are my thoughts. Jenny B, hey Jenny B, smart people know when they don't know something. I agree with that. have no problem admitting it and know where to go to find the answer. Well, I agree with that. Good job, Jenny. Yeah, I agree with that overall. And I would agree. Yeah. I mean, research is your friend. Asking good questions, keeping good people around you, and being diligent. I mean, there's a lot to be said for diligence. There's a scripture that says the diligent hand brings wealth. Not the most intelligent, not even the diligent. The diligent prosper. Those who consistently show up prosper. In most cases, there's always exceptions, but in a general rule, I mean, if you show up every day and you're diligent, and you research and you try, and you're not going to be perfect, I think you'll be okay. In most cases. So, amen, Jenny. AJ, TGIF, which stands for Thank God It's Friday. 2 hands up emoji. AJ, how are you, brother? Hope you're doing good. Hope you had a good week, man. Well, how's the weather out there in Arizona? Weather here in New Jersey is pretty good. Today was about in the 80s, I think, again today. Humidity, I don't know what it was, 40%. So humidity wasn't bad as Florida. I was in the office most of the day. I had lunch break and then, but I mean, obviously, I would love one day to be able to totally just live through my own investments. But until then, I have to be thankful. But it's good. Today was a good day. I'm glad it's warm. And I feel good. Overall, I feel very good. SW at Jenny B. Yes, yeah, Jenny B gave a good comment. Jerry Savage. I'm working on getting me a job at Jack's Restaurant. Amen. Well, I hope that works out to you. I mean, the food and beverage industry, again, I still think it's a shame that minimum wage is not at least $20 an hour, in my opinion. I mean, I just saw somebody working at McDonald's. Went there to get a Diet Coke. I mean, I understand, there's minimum wage. I worked minimum wage when I was younger. But, unless you're a kid, you can never make out. I mean, Jerry wants to go work at Jack's Restaurant. I think he should. But I think, you got to get $20 an hour, I think. I really do. I mean, yes, you can get tips and everything like that. But I just don't think people are paid enough for any type of. I mean, I think when you are willing to work and you show up, you should be able to make a livable income. Look, $10 an hour is not livable. Even 15. People who make that per hour, they're still on government assistance because you can't afford to be self-sustainable making $10, $15 an hour. You try it. I mean, it's like $200 a week. Can you, if you work, I don't know. It's $10 an hour. If you worked 40 hours a week, that's $400. Take out taxes, and if you were going to get benefits and everything, $300 a week. I don't know. $300 a week, $1,200 a month take home. You'd have to, no doubt about it, you have to live out of your car. In my opinion, I mean, I don't see how you can get any rent and buy something, eat, and live life, and put gas in your car, and pay car insurance. There's no way. And if you wanted to have a family. So, I mean, this is but then there is a counterbalance. If you work consistently, you eventually move past minimum wage. But still, I don't know. Still, it just doesn't sit right with me that it's that low. That's my opinion. Josh, what's up, Sam? What's going on with you, Josh? Hope you had a good week, brother. Hope you and your son are doing well. Josh, having a job that's on call, sometimes days off, all blend together with regular work days. Yes, next week when I start to transition my new job, I will no longer do on call. But I've done on call for about 10 years, being part of an on call rotation, meaning that even when you're not physically at the job, if there is an issue, you are the first one that's contacted. So usually you have to be within half hour, 45 minutes max of the place you work. Because if there is a major issue, you will have to dispatch, whether it's a healthcare industry, whether it's a maintenance job, whether it's different jobs that can cause you to have to be on call. That's a little bit of a burden because, again, you're not fully at rest. Just knowing in the back of your mind you can get that call and you have to dispatch, there's an anxiousness that's in your spirit. But that's part of life. I mean, again, I've done it. I would do it. I mean, there's part of life that you have to do what you necessarily don't want to do what you want to do. It's give and take in life. There's no easy answer. People who usually try to give you an easy answer, they usually, at the end of their easy answer is, oh, yeah, donate to me. Or, buy my branded products. So people who say that, you don't have to sacrifice, then they're living free. Usually the reason they're living free is off your dollars. That's my life experience. Whether it's the church, whether it's YouTube, whether it's a celebrity, they brand themselves. They brand themselves as this free spirit or sexy or whatever brand, and then they sell you products. Whether it's lipstick, whether it's shoes, whether it's t-shirts. Branding is just it's done everywhere, and people. It's a manipulation off your emotions. You want to buy into a product, you should buy into yourself. What should you do? Pay down your own debt. You want to believe in a brand, believe in yourself, pay down your own debt, live below your means, and own your life. Don't buy lipstick, by some other girl that's got lip injections and she's living, does she need your money? No, she don't need your money. You need to pay off your debt. You need to live your life. Does a guy live in an RV who's doesn't have to go be part of an on-call rotation? Does he need your money? Look, if he does, look, pay down your own debt, get your own RV. That's what I say. Don't let these fucking people lead you astray. This is my opinion. Ricardo, what's up, bro? You're my inspiration. Thank you, brother. To move into another state alone, saving up now. Amen, Ricardo. Thank you. Yes, I believe, my personal opinion, your environment plays a huge part in your inspiration. Me shifting my life, a huge part of that is to have the home base in Florida, which now is close to reality, very close. It's a reality. I will be doing that. It's already been done as far as different documents and things like that, because now with a remote position, I know I haven't done different videos on it, but it will be the case, and it is the case that Florida will be my home state, and spend the majority of my time there. Why? Because the sun, the heat, the weather inspires me. Some people it doesn't inspire. Some people like the mountains. I was talking to a guy today. He said he loves cold weather. He would maybe going to Canada. Different strokes for different folks. But for me, I need to be able to be outside. I need to be able to sweat. I need to be able to feel that heat. And your environment plays a huge part in your inspiration. Mental health plays a huge part. Is it worth uprooting your life to change, to be in an environment that's helpful? Yes, but only once you've done the foundational work of your mind, body, soul. If you move to another state but you're still eating Chick-fil-A, not good. If you move to another state but you still have unhealthy relationships, not good. If you move to another state and you haven't really found a moral compass, not good. Another state may help, but it will only enhance the foundation you've already laid in your life. That's why there are a lot of people that move to different states thinking the different environment will change their life, but no, the different environment will only enhance the life you've already built. You have to build your own mind, body, and soul before that cherry on top can be added, in my opinion, in my life experience. But to each his own. But Ricardo, brother, forward. Do what you need to do. Jerry Savage. I'm working on saving some money back. That's right, man. Jerry, save that money. Work. Look, how do you get wealthy? Look, the best way to get wealthy, not even wealthy, just look, how do you live a comfortable life? The bottom line is, the only thing I've really found in life, on average, there's always exceptions, but is you have to work, and then you have to spend less than you make. Again, I think that's very unfair for people who make minimum wage, because I think that's almost impossible. But the bottom line answer is, you need to work, you need income, then you need to have lower expenses. That's really, no matter how you slice the pie, people can give you hour sermon, people can send you to seminars, people can give you makeup to sell to your friends. People can send you around in circles for 10 years. At the end of the day, you're going to realize one thing, really, on average, the only way to get ahead in life, so to speak, is to work and to have lower expenses, to live simply, and to own your life. That's my life experience. Good comment. Ricardo, which state you live in Florida? Florida, it will be the southeast of Florida, which, all my stuff is going to be located. All my residence will be there. That's I've explored Florida, looked in different areas. I do like some different areas, but the East Coast I love the most, but Southeast will be my home base. So I will not purchase anything as far as purchasing land right away. In the beginning of my journey, transition into my new job, there may be some travel. So I have to see. In the beginning, it's going to be settling into the new position, seeing how much time I'm able to spend there. It will be the majority of the time, but in the beginning, it's going to be a lot more travel than staticness. And I'll start in the New Jersey, New York area, just being up here because I have to do certain things. But I'm looking forward to it. My goal has been, since I come back, as long as I've spent my last winter in New Jersey, God willing. That was my goal. And so I believe I will do that. Are there guarantees? No, but I believe everything is set up now that that can be a good reality, good shot. And I feel good about that. But for me, it's Florida. For me, it's the southeast part of Florida specifically, and that's where it is for me right now. Jimmy, I just spent this week doing another purge down to 2 backpack lifestyle. Amen. Yeah, I saw somebody today. I saw a video from Bob Wells, a guy living out of his camper van. Camper van was a clusterfuck in my opinion. Nice guy. I don't judge him. This is my opinion, okay? But I'm just sharing with you different people who watch the Nomad community. Of course, they watch Bob Wells, maybe. This guy, Class B or whatever it was, camper van, this shit was cluttered as hell. He had all these different utensils, all these different knives. Look, I mean, I've been living a year plus out of my Jeep Renegade, basically one bag. I mean, I get plastic forks and spoons. I mean, I don't know. People, you don't need a coffee machine. You don't need all of, I don't know. That's for me. That's my opinion, though. Simple is better. I mean, even people who live the RV lifestyle, I mean, many of them too complex, in my opinion. It's really very simple. But it is hard to recondition the mind away from what you've been taught. You've been taught you need silverware. You've been taught you need a coffee maker. You've been taught you need a blender. You've been taught you need an oven. You've been taught, you need all these different things. It was very hard for me to get to where my brother's talking about, to purge. What's the hardest part? Downsizing. To throw out stuff that you spent years acquiring. Why? Because you think you'll need it. You think that you're just not ready to part with it. But there's always another Walmart. There's always another Walmart. There's always another Walmart. I mean, if you really need something, you can buy it. But let me tell you something. Really, you're not going to need much. Why do people buy stuff? Because they're bored. They got nothing else to do. They think this pink soap holder will change their life. Will it change their life? No. Will the paper towel holder change your life? No. Will the tricolor knife set change your life? No. Will the Ninja blender change your life? No. These are just all dust collectors in my life experience. But everyone should do what they want. These are my experiences. Ricardo, how long it took you to want to live in your car? Well, when I started to look at downsizing, again, for those who don't know my journey, owned a condo for 15 years. The past 2 years were miserable. In my life experience, when you're ready to change, the last couple years of something will be complete misery. So the last 2 years, I felt something in my spirit like, it's time to do something different. I'm not happy here. I'm not inspired here. Too much square footage. I'm not using 75% of my house. I'm anchored down to this area. I don't want to be in this area. That was part of it too. And just felt like, then if something happened with my job and I wasn't there anymore, I got to get another high-paying job just to keep these things that I'm not inspired with, just to live in this town that I'm not inspired with. So I said, well, the first step to downsizing is liquidate. Older lady taught me that once. So if you're in the downsizing mode, the first step is not to buy an RV. The first step is not to buy a camper van. The first step is not to buy a vacation home. If you want to downsize, the first step is to sell what you already have, so that you can be liquid, so that you can have flexibility, so you can decide your next step. Having 2 mortgages is not wisdom. Having a 20-year RV payment while you still have a house payment is not wisdom, in my opinion. Having a beach house and a primary residence is not wisdom, in my opinion, but I almost did it. These are my opinions based on my life experience. So when I started looking at downsizing, I want to cut my expenses in half. I said, all right, guys, sold my house. Then when I didn't want to even consider buying anything till I had a signed contract. When I had a signed contract and it was about 4 weeks away from closing, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm in a parking lot and somebody comes right in front of me. It's just amazing, but that's all right. All right, so when I was 4 weeks away from closing on my house, I said, all right, Sam, I got to get serious about where I'm going to go. So I thought about buying a condo in the Jersey Shore, thought about buying a condo at Florida. I had the process of elimination. I said, well, it doesn't make sense at this point to buy a property in Florida because I still have my job up here. What's the amount of time I'm going to be there? I'm not going to be there often. I'm not going to rent it out. I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want another job. I don't want to do that. So sorry, I got to take Florida off the table for now, but I knew that was my long-term goal. So I knew I didn't want to be in Jersey. So I was like, if I buy a property at the Jersey Shore, even if I come up here in the summer, I want to spend the majority of my time in Florida, not in the Jersey Shore. So I said, I really don't want to get anything there then. So one of my friends actually recommends, Sam, you should look into RVs. Again, never heard of RVs really. Grew up in a suburb, but it was pretty much a urbanized suburb, 40 minutes outside New York City. So I didn't grow up like in a country where, RVing is more of a cultural thing. So I started looking at RVs. I almost bought a tab trailer. I went to Delaware. That was the closest place they sold tab trailers. I almost bought a tab trailer, and it was the only thing I figured that possibly my Jeep Renegade could pull, because I didn't want to buy a new car just for an RV. I wasn't sure I was going to keep. But then once I started looking at RVs and I started looking at, oh man, I got to tow this thing around. Where am I going to put it? I'm not going to be stealth. I'm going to be anchored down again in a sense, because, when you have an RV, you lose a level of freedom and flexibility. And I don't want more components. You have two vehicles, not one when you have an RV, unless you have a Class C or Class B, and then you pay for that, and you still have limitations. So it was process of elimination. I said, oh, well, then RV living's out. But then as I was looking at all these different things, RVs, I looked at tiny homes, almost bought a piece of property down in Cape May, New Jersey for about $80,000, close to Atlantic Ocean. I was going to buy it. I actually did a lot of research. I went to the local town municipality. I spoke to the township inspector and the city ordinance. Every city has different ordinances. I never say that right, but different rules that you have to comply with in order to pull permits, so that you can legally have a dwelling on that property, and so that if your neighbors ever called on you, or if an inspector from the township ever drove by your property and you weren't in accordance with those municipality rules, they could technically shut you down. It's not a livable inhabitant. Each dwelling has what they call a certificate of occupancy. A person can't live in a dwelling legally if they're not in compliance with local jurisdiction and they don't have proper permits and a safe dwelling that is considered to be occupied. So, bottom line is, when I looked into tiny homes, I was going to buy a small piece of property in South Jersey in the Cape May area. And the bottom line is, most of their rules down there, most of New Jersey, is you have to have at least 1,000 square foot house. Okay? That's minimum square footage. I was going to put like a 400 square foot house or lower on a piece of property. And he said, no. Just about every township I went to that was in somewhat of a populated area, not in the middle of nowhere, you had to have at least 1,000 square foot house. That's building minimum. And the other thing was, I wanted to live off the grid. I did not want to hook up to utilities. And it didn't matter. They said, you need 1,000 square foot house, and you have to hook up to utilities. You have to pay to have the utilities hooked up to the house. But you don't have to turn them on, but you have to pay for the infrastructure to have them ran to your house. Because for you to get certificate of occupancy, you have to have a sewer system, you have to have running water, et cetera, or else it's not going to be deemed to have a certificate of occupancy. Legally, no one can live there because it's not deemed safe or whatever in most municipalities in New Jersey. So when I heard all that, I said, here we go down this road of being anchored down, having all these burdens, don't even want to be in New Jersey long term. So I said, hell no. And then as I was searching through YouTube, researching all these different things, slowly but surely on the recommended videos that on YouTube, they started showing people living out of their vans and out of their cars. And first I thought these people are crazy, to be honest with you. So now I got to be careful. Sometimes I get really pissed at people when they look at me judgmental, but I never looked at people judgmental, but I said, man, that's odd, man. It don't seem right. I never even thought of something like that. So then when I seen people doing it, I said, man, these fucking people, I said, I could do this. I mean, you said the same thing with me. Like, you look at me, you think, if I can do it, you can do it if you want to do it. I looked at that, different people in my life that inspired me when they would write books. I said, man, if this fucking person wrote a book, I could write a book. So in life, sometimes people who inspire you to do something, it's not like they inspire you because they're better than you. A lot of times, who will inspire you? People who say, if this fucking guy can do it, I can do it. And you should look at it like that. In most cases, no one's really better than anyone. I mean, different people have different gifts. So when I started seeing that on YouTube, I mean, it was really inspirational. Again, who inspired me? A guy who was 70 years old. He wasn't living in his Prius, but he was long-term camping. And when I said, oh, man, I could do that, man. But the problem was parking. That's what I struggled with for a while. Where am I going to park? A lot of these people were living on the West Coast in the middle of nowhere, on BLM land, etc. A little bit tougher in the Northeast. But once I brainstormed, I figured out, there's certain ways I could probably rotate, just move around a lot and be able to do it safely and legally. So I came up with a game plan, and I said, this is what I said to myself when it came close to closing on my house to sell it. I said, well, Sam, look, you're middle aged, you're young, you're healthy. Give it a shot. I mean, because how simple can you? I wanted to see how simple can I live. I mean, this is the simplest you can live, pretty much. So I said, give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, you could either get an RV, you could buy a house or whatever. But so that's what I did. And the first couple months were a little scary. They weren't that enjoyable. It was a little bit like touch and go, like anything new in life. Then when I got a routine, 6, 8 months into it, totally free. Now, some people get to that point in the first couple of weeks. They know that they'll never go back. It took me a couple months, but once I got into a flow, once I got into a routine, and I built up my confidence, and I, figured out which works better than other things, and I said, man, I've totally felt free. I felt like, I don't need all the different things I thought I needed. The hardest thing for me has been dealing with the harsh winters in the Northeast, and it does get hot in the summer. Like I said, yesterday it was hotter here than it was in Florida. But being a snowbird now, eventually as I'm transitioning into a remote position, hopefully I'll be able to pretty much travel with the weather. So that won't be an issue as much. I mean, you're always going to get caught in the weather a little bit. But these are my thoughts. I'm a little bit rambling tonight, but it's Friday. I'm just kind of off the wing. I kind of shared what the main topic I wanted to share on tonight was step into it. You have to step into your life. You have to show up, assert yourself, and not be timid. Be humble, but not be timid. Next comment. Janice, hey Janice. I get $31,000 a year and all net. What if taxes were included? What would that make it to add the taxes onto it? If you make $31,000 net, well, if you made $50,000, right? That's what I think most people have to live a comfortable life. I mean, probably 40 you can get away with it. But let's say 50. Pretty much the normal tax bracket for most people is around 25. Maybe 20, depending on once you get a little bit lower. But I mean, that's your gross. So your gross tax, let's just say is 25. Now, depending on if you have state income tax, which like in New Jersey is about 5.5% state income tax. But let's just take federal. Let's say on average, someone had about 25% federal tax. And if you lived in Florida, you wouldn't pay any state tax. So 50,000 times 25%, well, 10% is 5. 20% would be 10. So about 12 grand. About 12 grand you would minus from 50. So that would leave you with about 38. So, and then if you had state tax, you'd be closer to 37. So I would say pretty much you would need to net probably around 42,000. I mean, you would gross. So if you're taking home 31,000, you're probably somewhere between 40 and 45,000 you would have to make on the books gross. And then if you deducted to 20 to 25%, and if you had state income tax, depending on your state, you'd be somewhere there. But I would say on paper, you'd have to at least make at least probably around $40,000 to be in that range to net take home 31,000. And then again, obviously you have to consider paying for health insurance, et cetera, because I believe, Janice, you're retired. So 80% of your health insurance probably comes from Medicare. And then you pay, I think, whatever, you pick up the other 20% through a supplemental. But that's what I would say, probably around 40,000, maybe a little bit more, something in that area. Josh, same here with the on-call. I'm in building maintenance. Yep, done that for years. And you're right. It's always in the back of your mind, definitely. But 90% of the time, I enjoy my job and people I work with. Amen, Josh. Well, that's the key. The key is enjoying the people you work with. There's no doubt about it. That's the number one contributor to a good quality of a work life. Certainly you want to be paid a decent income, because if you're not paid a decent income, it doesn't matter how good the people are you work with. Eventually you're going to have to move on, because the whole point of working is so that you can provide for yourself. So if you feel like you're not providing for yourself, you're going to move on. And everything has a season. And there are certain times that even when you're completely comfortable, which was the hardest part for me, as I get ready to transition to this new position. I had great people I worked with for about 10 years. I was with the same people probably for about 5. The last 5 years have been great. That's the hardest part about leaving something you're comfortable with. But for me, my desire to change is greater than to stay the same. My desire to have my home base in Florida and to work remotely is greater than the luxury of being comfortable. So that's why I'm willing to change things a little bit to get closer to my life dream. But I totally agree with the sentiment that working with good people matters. You know, what's the number one question you should ask when you're in a job interview? Who will I be directly reporting to? And then you want to interview that person. You want to know their character. You want to know their management style, because the person you're going to be directly reporting to has the biggest impact on your quality of life at work. I've worked very hard for certain companies, but some managers it's impossible to get along with, or it's very tough, and it just, no matter what you do, it's very tough to get traction in progress in your job. So I mean, your relationship with your direct manager has a huge part of your quality of life at work. But there are seasons of your life where, look, you know, you just got to do what you got to do. But the best jobs are the ones that you can laugh at a little bit. I mean, that you're serious, you get stuff done, but you know how to laugh. You know, have a good time while doing it. So that's important, definitely. Joshua, Sam, how are you? Good, Joshua. Thank you for the comment. How are you, brother? What do you think of using a used P71 Ford Crown Vic to live in, with the metal screens on the rear passenger doors for ventilation? I think they built like tanks and and easy to service. Well, thank you, Josh, for the comment. I'm not familiar with the Ford Crown Vic. I mean, I believe that's a big sedan, right? Or maybe it sounds like a big van. I'm not sure. Obviously, it depends on the year, but I think you can live in anything. I mean, I live in a Jeep Renegade, so it's newer. It's 2016, but I mean, I don't know what the square footage is, 35 square foot. I don't even think it's that. So, I mean, if I can live in this for over a year, I mean, you can live in anything. But the key is you want to live in something reliable, right? Because you don't want to, that's why I don't recommend buying used. But what car should you start with? The car you currently have, as long as it's in good running condition and not any issues. That being said, that's personal preference, you know, just like everything is a level of personal preference. But I think overall, as long as it's in good running condition, I do believe ventilation is key. That's a little bit tough part about having a cargo van, is that there's no back windows, or at least back windows that open. So you really have to almost have a max fan cut in the top. If not, you can crack the front two windows, but you'd have to have a fan to blow that fresh air in the back. But you can certainly live in anything. Obviously, you want it to be reliable. And two is that sounds like a gas guzzler. Now, maybe if it's new, it's not. But I take gas into consideration for me, because I still do a lot of traveling. So if you were going to be very static, but just live out of your car, then I guess it wouldn't matter, because your gas mileage is not a huge thing. But as I make this, I mean, gas is close to $3 a gallon. And it is $3 a gallon up in some areas, depending on where you live. So, you know, gas has been going up, and at any time gas can go back up. So, you know, I get anywhere from 25 to 30 miles per gallon in my Jeep Renegade. I mean, that's attractive. Closer to 30 miles per gallon, because I'm mainly on the highways. That's something to be considered. Now, if you're living way below your means and you don't care about gas miles, nothing wrong with that. But kind of like what I've experienced is, even though I'm living so below my means, it's almost like it's tough. Like, it almost becomes a game with yourself, right? The more you save and the more you get the empowerment of working for something that you see, the less you want to waste it on stuff that's doesn't need to be wasted on. So it's like, it becomes fun to save, at least for me. I mean, I know that some people are savers and some people are spenders by nature. Some people just like to spend money. Some people like to save. I mean, I like to save, so, but, again, you have to, if you work, you should enjoy the fruits of your labor. So, I mean, at some point you have to spend a little bit on yourself and things that inspire you. You have to be inspired. And that's the other thing that comes to mind. What vehicle should you pick? I mean, not only the one that makes sense, but also has to inspire you a little bit, in my opinion. If you're not inspired, you're not going to be passionate about it. I mean, the Jeep Renegade, one of the reasons I bought it, I mean, it inspires me. When I see it, I get inspired. I still get inspired. My house totally didn't inspire me. If my car didn't inspire me, I would change it. So these are the things that come to my mind, but it's a good question. But I definitely think it could be done if you wanted to do it. Ricardo, I'm the same, love hot weather. Yep, me and you on the same page. Plus, just want to be somewhere new. Well, I understand that. And I want you to be where you want to be. I also just want to caution everyone that everything new becomes old. But does that mean you shouldn't explore? No, you should explore. A big rig just pulled up next to me, so forgive me if that gets noisy. But I want to keep my windows down because I got a nice cross breeze right now. It's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, even when it's hot, like 80s and 90s during the day, at night, once the sun goes down, you get the nice breeze. I mean, it's very cool. I don't have an air conditioner, but you know, it was a little bit warm last night. But I have couple fans. They blow to keep me cool. But back to your point, Ricardo, I totally agree with you. Well, this is what I want to say. In the beginning of my journey of being a nomad or whatever you want to call it, I did a lot of traveling. I traveled up and down the entire east coast of America. Why? Because even though I felt always in my spirit that Florida was where I wanted to be, but I wanted to explore, to see new things, to try. And I went up to Boston, I went to Vermont, I went to Massachusetts, went to Jersey, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta. I went to all these different places just to see. Baltimore, just to see. Philly, just to see. Just to explore, just to get the experience. Then, once you do the exploring, then you're going to gravitate towards certain areas that are your favorites. You're going to get a feel for a town. You're going to get a feel for a city. You're going to get a feel for a state. Each state has its own personality. Each town within that state has its own personality. The beginning of your journey as being a nomad, everything is brand new because living on the road is a completely different lifestyle than living static. So I believe in the beginning of that journey, what you should do is explore. Same thing is like, when you go off to college or you're very young, you should date. You should date a variety of people to get life experience. Then you're going to kind of figure out what works for you. What person matches up with my personality. Same thing with traveling. When you start to live on the road, you should travel to see, well, all right, let me just get the experience. And then you'll figure out, all right, well, this works more for me than the other. And then I know myself. Knowing yourself is the key to all decisions. So newness has a value. But the part I like about being totally remote is that, look, even though I have a new residence, a new state residence, living on wheels, at any time, if you get bored or you want to change your mind, you can go anywhere you want. And that's for me, that's a huge appeal. So even if you got tired of something that once inspired the shit out of you, at any time you could just start your car and say, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere else. Or I'm just going to take, a couple week day trip somewhere. I love that. That keeps me inspired about life. Do you need to be inspired about life? Yeah. I mean, when I was static, when I lived in my house and it'd be the Friday weekend, I wouldn't be inspired because I didn't have that many options. I knew no matter what, I was anchored down. I had to come back to this. But I mean, when I know that, I have the ability to see new things at my own desire and to change locations and to see different scenery, I mean, that's a blessing. But it all started with just traveling within my own state. Traveling within your own state is the first step. I believe in baby steps. How do you break down a big problem? By taking it in small steps. So what should you do? I mean, look, you should just start by traveling 30 miles outside of where you normally go. All right. So, if you live in, wherever you live, just look 30 miles past where you normally stay. Start there and then just gradually branch out. And then before you know it, you're going to a different state. Before you know it, you're going to 2 states over. Before you know it, you're going up and down the entire coast. And then before you know it, you found the areas that fit best based on your personality and your season of life. And then even when you do that, you have the complete freedom at any time to get up and move. I mean, that's the thing right now why, to me, I don't want to get anchored down to anything because I like the mental option that at any time I have the complete freedom to move. Even when you have an RV, if you have a travel trailer, I mean, look, you don't have, I mean, you can hitch something. I like to be able to go in a parking lot. I could park anywhere. I don't have to go in a place where it can only fit an RV. So you say, well, Sam, I can get a Class B. I can park anywhere with a Class B. Or even a small Class C. Yeah, you can, but if you have to get your oil changed, you may not be able to go to Valvoline Quick Lube. If you have to get service done, you may not be able to go anywhere. I mean, you look at Nomadic Fanatic. Can he get his Class C serviced anywhere? No. When shit got bad for him a couple of weeks ago, he had to call his mom for help. I mean, he had to go to different mechanics where he had to totally go off his route. He had to find a mechanical shop that was miles and miles away from where he was planning on going. I mean, a whole different state away. He had to change his whole plans. That's the things to be considered. The more bigger vehicle you get, especially if we're talking about RVs, the less places that can be serviced and the more mental burdens you may have. That's why I want maximum freedom. Why? For my mental health. Financial health, I mean, I could even do that, but the mental health is part of the game for me too. For me, everyone's different. Again, everyone's different. Some people, it wouldn't be mentally healthy to be in this small of a space. I can't speak to everyone's life, so these are my thoughts on that. Susanna G, hey Susanna, good evening. Good evening to you, Susanna. Hope you had a great week. Thank you for always saying hello. That matters to me, and I hope you're doing good. Thank you for the smiley face emoji. Oh, DeMarco, how do you get rid of all your possessions, and how long did it take? Great question. Now once I make up my mind about something, I get shit done. So I went to Florida. Where'd it go? Was 2016 in December. I went to Florida. I mean, I've been to Florida many times before that, but I remember there was a light bulb that went on. I went down to Florida. I drove. Something was one of the first times driving down there. Drove down to Florida. Took a week vacation. I drove back up. I said, that's it. I'm done. Even if I don't come back here right away, I don't want to live in New Jersey long term, and I don't want my house anymore. The house was a very spurring on my spirit because it was weighing me down. And I had thoughts of maybe selling it. I did clean up a little bit, but I wasn't ready. When I went down to Florida and then came back up to New Jersey, I said, that's it. This ain't for me anymore. So first thing I did was I got it show ready. I cleaned out as much as I could in my house to get that thing on the market within 2 weeks. Put my house on the market, a week before Christmas. Some people said, Sam, wait till after the holidays to put your house on the market. I said, fuck that, put it on immediately. Okay, start now, refine as you go. People want to mind fuck life. That's my opinion. You do what you want. So once I put it on the market, went right going. I would say I threw out everything I owned within 6 weeks. Okay, now will most people do that? No. Was it hard? Yes. For me, this is my personality. Once I have made up my mind about something, that's it. No going back. Some people don't believe in that, but that's what I believe in, okay? I believe there has to come to a point mentally where you say, I'm fucking never going back to this life again. Okay? I got the same way when I was 350 pounds. When I got to a point where I hurt myself, that's it. Once I got back from the hospital after I pinched a nerve in my chest, I said, that's it. I'm never going back to this type of lifestyle where I'm totally obese. Some people don't have that in them. What's the hardest part about throwing things out? It's a mental battle. Mental. Some people can't mentally, they don't have the mental capacity, which I have empathy on, or whatever. They're not taking care of themselves well. I mean, there's so many different variety of factors of mental health. But what I can tell you is some people don't have it to say, some people don't have it in their mind to make up their mind. And then there's a mental toughness that's needed to throw shit out. Believe me, you're going to go to throw stuff out, and then you're going to pull it back. You're going to look at things, you're going to have an emotional attachment. It's going to be very hard to throw out. I have empathy. But what do you have to do? You have to say, fuck it. I want change more than I want to stay the same. Until you have that mindset, it's all mental. It's all mental. Until you have that mindset, you don't go forward. You will be a prisoner to your things or to to your current circumstance. Part of progress, a huge part of it is mental health. Why do I preach mind, body, and soul? Because if you ain't taking care of yourself well, there's no way you're pushing forward. You're not. You may have the illusion of pushing forward, but you're going to go in circles. Where does it start? It doesn't start with downsizing. It starts with mind, body, and soul. So before I put my house on the market, before I sold all things, I lost 200 pounds. I took care of my mental health. I cut out the unhealthy relationships. So what's the answer? The answer is don't start throwing stuff out. Start taking care of yourself well, then throw stuff out. You're going to need all your capacity. You're going to need all your strength. You're going to need to be operating at 100% to get where you need to be. If you don't believe me, do what you want. This is my life experience. Good question, brother. Yolanda, congrats, all caps. I'm building. I'm still building. Yet, all caps, when the time comes, I will be ready. Forward. Amen. Yolanda, love and respect. That's right. You have to build for a season. You have to build your foundation. Jesus said any house built on sand will eventually collapse, but a house built on a solid foundation will endure the storm. Do you face storms in life? You better believe it. You better believe it. Has there been ups and downs in my journey? You better believe it. There is every day. I have thoughts of sadness. I have things that don't always go 100% my way. I mean, look, no matter what in life, you can't, none of us can avoid the, harshness of life at times, the realities of life. So, I mean, come on. But how do I keep myself inspired? Well, one is I simplify my life. Two is I take care of my mind, body, soul. And three is I realize that I have to get myself up. I have to keep myself happy. My mom can't make me happy. My kids can't. I don't have kids, but whatever. I mean, my dog, my co-workers. No, bottom line is no one else can make you happy but you. How do you make yourself happy? By being pleased with yourself. How do you get pleased with yourself? By doing the work. By doing the work of your life. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I can be the most inspirational person, or anybody else on YouTube can be inspirational. They can be compassionate. You can love them. You can donate to them. You can be part of their fan club. But at the end of the day, it's just a sugar rush, guys. Just a sugar rush. How do you really nourish your soul? Stop fucking sweating other people and just sweat yourself. You understand what I'm saying in this matter of speaking? You got to look up to yourself. You got to be your own best friend. Stop being some part of someone else's Patreon account. Be part of your own Patreon account. Okay? Invest in yourself every month, every day. All right? Again, that's what I'm talking about. Stop donating to other people's lives. And I'm not just talking about financially. I'm talking about stop investing your energy into other people's lives more than you invest in yourself. Even if that applies to me. I want to be the spark that gets you going. I don't want to be someone who has to keep you going. Because if I'm doing that, I'm not doing my job. A leader's job is to create more leaders. Okay? A cult leader's job is to create more followers. I don't want you to live vicariously through me. I don't. Some people want that. Some people say, oh, live vicariously through me, see my next adventure. Fuck that. Fuck them. Live your own adventure. All right? Let me spark a flame in you, and then when I'm done, when God has, used me and whatever, then you go on to live your own life. I don't even care if you're unsubscribed, stop watching. Just live your life. And that's how life should be lived. This is my feeling on that. Jimmy James. It was hard letting all of my 80s and 90s concert ticket stubs go. Good comment. Mostly Motley Crue, Whitesnake. I remember Whitesnake, man. What was the song they had? I used to like Whitesnake. I wasn't big into rock, but I remember Whitesnake. They had one song that was real magical. 1987 Kiss, 1980s, and 5 shows on the reunion tour. Iron Maiden, GNR, 1988. Moving forward, all caps. Love that, Jimmy. Good job, brother. What's that Whitesnake song? Excuse me. What's the Whitesnake song? Damn, you can try to say that a few times. Not good. Chris, what's up, brother? Chris, good to see you. Good evening, Sam. Good evening to you, brother. And everyone, yes, love and respect to everyone on the live chat. You guys make this special. Thank you, everyone. Please know that, sometimes you have excitement in my voice, sometimes you don't. But every time I see a comment, no matter how I respond to it, there is excitement. I appreciate you guys being willing to leave a comment. Respect you all, and I thank you. All right, so Chris says, good evening, Sam, and everyone. Just logged in. I sold a vintage Budweiser clock on Let Go today. Well, I like that, Let Go. It was liberating to get rid of it for cash. Forward. Yes, good job, Chris. Let me tell you something. If you can't get rid of it for cash, throw it the fuck out. If Salvation Army has a 6-week waiting period until they get to somebody at your house, throw it out. Put a chainsaw on that damn couch and throw it out in pieces if you can't get it out of your front door. That's my opinion. That's what I did. Do what you want. All right? Love you, Chris. Good job, brother. Start back. I need my brother to start back. Stay hydrated, Sammy. Start back, man. Thanks for keeping an eye on me, man. Thanks for keeping an eye on me, Start back. Thank you. Start back. There's a special place in heaven for you, brother. Special place. Chris, at Jimmy. Chris. Sorry about that, guys. I'm missing some. I know I'm behind on this. Chris says, at Jimmy, good for you, brother. You will always have the memories of watching the bands live. Iron Maiden, Wasted Years came to mind. Peace. What's the damn Whitesnake song? Gotta think about that. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The memories live in your spirit, not on your shelf. Did I have memorabilia? Yes, I had a Puff Daddy signed guitar. I had a Beyonce signed microphone. I had a Barack Obama signed basketball. I had a couple of special memorabilias. What did I do with them? I kept none of them. I didn't. Did I try to sell them on eBay? I looked at them, and then when I saw all the aggravation, I just threw them the fuck out. I gave a couple things away. I did give a couple things away. I don't want to totally lie, but I got rid of them. I said, fuck it. I'm, a couple thousand. I just got rid of them. That's my experience. I mean, I got rid of a whole bunch of baseball cards too. I had a friend that said, Sam, those gotta be worth something. I'll take them to the shop. I'll figure out. I say, or maybe I'll consider do it. Then I said, fuck it, throw it all out. I'm done. Now, everyone should do what they want, but the bottom line is, look, don't live a life. The memories live in your spirit. I can't say that better. Good job, Chris. Jimmy. Chris, thanks, man. It helps being able to relieve shows on YouTube once in a while. Yes, no, I hear that true. Yeah, it does help to relive shows on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, shows on YouTube can inspire you. They inspire me, and they help relieve life, make life more enjoyable. But again, this is my desire for everyone. I want your life to inspire you more than someone else's YouTube channel. Now, certainly, you're still going to need to unwind. Certainly, you're still going to need, on a down day, someone to pick you up. And I watch YouTube channels every night. But I never want you to put yourself second to someone else's channel. You understand what I'm saying? I want you to live an inspired life and put no one above your own. M93. Oh, I made a bit of the stream. M93, we love you. Good to see you. All sunglass face emoji. My beautiful Sarah. Sarah, when you're free every day is Friday. Yes, smiley face, palm tree, sun, and peace. Aloha from the beautiful Huntington Beach, California. Love and respect to Callie and my beautiful, loving, compassionate Sarah, who's got a great personality. I love her, and I appreciate her. I mean, that's another beautiful part about YouTube. Sarah's one of the beautiful people that I've met since very beginning that has helped me and has encouraged me. And it's just a good connect with people. So, I mean, that's the good part about social media and YouTube and different things. I mean, you can make good connections that are inspiring. And it could be in a sincere way. So thank you, Sarah. I hope you're having a good time out there in California. Dennis, thank you. Jennifer Lopez in the house. Hey, Sam. Hey, J-Lo, what's going on? I see you got new avatar. New avatar profile picture. Good to see you, J-Lo. Ricardo, were you sleep in your car in the back seat or driver's seat? Well, when I first started, I tried in my driver's seat. Then I did try in my passenger seat. Then what I realized for me is I put both back seats down. I put the front passenger seat all the way down. I put a yoga mat, a cushion thing, and then a mattress topper on top of the folded down back seats and 2 quilts. And I go back there and I sleep. I sleep in the back with the seats. My back seats always stay down. And my feet come all the way up and they lay on top of the front passenger seat. I'm about 6 foot and I lay completely down and I have no lack. In the beginning, I did some videos early on in my journey. I would sleep in my back seat. I had my passenger seat regular, and I would put my 2 feet in between the passenger and driver side front seats. I don't know why, but that's in my mind. I was just figuring out as I go, what should you do? Start now and refine it as you go. So eventually I just said, I don't know why I didn't think of it. I just put my front seat completely down, and now I just stretch my legs over there. I love it. It works for me. How long did it take me to get my sleeping set up just right? About 6-8 months. It took me about that long. Now, some people, they get it right away. But that's how long it took for me. Jimmy, $6 per gallon in Vancouver. What? That's crazy. Now, I know you guys got universal health care, but $6 per gallon for regular gas? That's high, man. And I thought you guys got a lot of fuel up there, man. Don't you get a subsidy or something? Chris, in my humble opinion, I suggest if you have a car, tow a small camper trailer to live in. Not as stealth, but if you are good with your hands, one can be built for under $2,000. Well, amen. The answer is always do what you want. Because when you do what you want, then you have no one else to blame and you don't live a resentful life. That's always the answer. But, certainly pick other people's brain, but ultimately do whatever you want with life. Now I don't like working with my hands. So I have no desire to fix anything, to tow anything extra. But that's only because I know myself well. But if you know you like to tinker with things, if you know you want a little bit more space and you don't mind towing something, then that's what you should do. And I agree with that. And I appreciate you sharing that, Chris. Everyone has a different way of living. Somebody told me today, like, Sam, I don't like to live in hot weather. I like to live in cold weather. There's nothing wrong with that. And he said, Sam, I don't like Asian MILFs. I like, young girls. I said, nothing wrong with that. I said, you know what? That's great. He says, why is that great? I said, because there's more Florida, more hot Asian MILFs for me. So when someone doesn't want something you want, you know what? It just means more for you. So never forget that too. Ricardo, what are safe places to sleep in your car that you go? I had no problem at truck stops. No problem at Walmarts. No problem at campgrounds. No problem in pretty much those places. I mean, those are the major places. I mean, right? I mean, truck stops, no issues. I mean, these are all one night and you keep it moving and then you have a rotation. Truck stops, no issues. Did I ever have an issue at a truck stop in Atlanta? I remember somebody came up to me in a truck stop or rest area. I don't remember what it was. Same thing, basically. Somebody came up to me at midnight. I think it was basically some alcoholic looking for money for just looking for money. And also in a rest stop in Baltimore. Or right off I-95, big rest area. Somebody came to me in the middle of the night. They just knocked on my door. Uh, but I basically told them I'm not gonna give you anything. When I told one person I'm not gonna give anything, I just got up and leave. I mean, they didn't say anything to me. They walked away. But I'm not gonna stay in the same parking lot after I told somebody they can't have money. So I was like, I don't feel comfortable here anymore. But I never felt like I was in danger. But that first time when I got my first knock by somebody asking me for money in a rest area in Atlanta, or in Georgia, not Atlanta. It was startling because that was even before I had window covers. That was like my first month. I was just doing some traveling. But then after time, I mean, you learn how to move. It's like everything in life. I mean, the first day on the job, the first month on the job, it's going to be nervous, scary, and you have to figure some things out. After 8 months on the job, you're going to be in pretty good shape. What are the safest? I mean, the safest are probably campgrounds, but you usually pay for them unless you're in the BLM. You're going to pay for them. But my experience with truck stops and Walmarts and Lowe's or Home Depot for one nights, no problem. Have I stayed in family members' driveways? Yeah, for for a couple nights here and there, especially in the beginning. Friends have offered me different driveways or places to park on their property. I haven't done that for a long period of time. I do that as part of my rotation at times. Um, the main piece of advice from is just you got to keep it moving. I mean, right now I'm parked next to a 18-wheeler in a parking lot, and it's a 24-hour establishment. People are riding around. You can park here legally for one night, and that's what I do. I mean, it's just like the town you're in. You want to know how the crime is, what the feel is, and you just want to move appropriately. Um, but yeah, that's my experiences. Yeah, no major issues. Hector, hey Sam, I made it 2 months on my 2015 Chevy Malibu. Chevy Malibu, very roomy. 6 more months and I will pay it off. Praise the Lord, brother. Good job. And be debt free. That's awesome. Thanks for the inspiration. Thank you, Hector, for sharing that. Yeah, love and respect to you, Hector, man. That's great, man. Great story. Chevy Malibu's got a lot of room. I used to work with a guy that had a Chevy Malibu. And I remember going inside. I said, man, this thing is roomy as hell inside. And so that's definitely a great car. Seats were very comfortable, I remember. That's what I also remember about the Chevy Malibu I sat in. The seats were very comfortable. And that's what it's about. I mean, living simple. And it definitely ain't nothing simple than living out of your car. But what it's about owning your life. Once you pay off that car, you own your life. Look, you have so many more options when you live simply. When you have a lot of expenses, high car payment, high rent, high mortgage, and all the different other things that you want to do, gas, insurances, going out to eat, you're living that 70 to 80% of society. 70 to 80% of society lives paycheck to paycheck. So when you can step out of that and be the smaller percentage and own your life, it's inspiring. So thank you, Hector, man. Great story. Jerry Savage. Me and my wife saving money back to get us a car, and we are thinking about living out. I'm sorry, I was just looking at something for a minute. I'm sorry about that, Jerry. Jerry says, me and my wife saving money to get back in a car, and we were thinking about living out of the car for a while. Yeah, well, amen. I mean, for me, in my opinion, would it be tough to live in a car with someone else? Not necessarily. I mean, for me, yes. Why for me? Because for me, I like my personal space. I don't even want to be in a relationship. So, nevertheless, live with somebody, especially in a car. But I met plenty of people in Florida that I've seen couples living in their vans together without an issue. If you were a couple, I would say you'd at least want a van. But a car could be done. I mean, it's all relative to who you are, how you get along with people, and what your personality is. But I mean, obviously, you see a lot of nomads in Florida because of the weather, just like you see a lot of nomads in California because of the weather. Not so much in the Northeast because of the weather. But in Florida, I saw couples living in vans and definitely RVs. But I saw a few living in vans, and they had a dog. So I've seen 2 people and a dog, living in cars and living a good quality life. I mean, they seem happy. They were in Starbucks. They were doing their thing. And so, yeah, man, it's all relative to what you want to do. But that's another great comment, man. Thank you for sharing, brother. Let me get back to here. Sorry, I know I'm lagged on the comments. I'm just taking my time tonight. I'm not rushing. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, SI Project, Philly in the house. Philly, what's up, brother? Good to see you, SI. Vernon Joseph, what's up, brother? Question. What do you do when you get sick? That's a good question. And you live in your vehicle. Some illness require real bed or consistent temperature. What do you do? It got hot here in Cherry Hill. You love and respect to Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Southwest, kind of. By Philly. By Philly. Love and respect to Philly. Well, I did get sick twice this winter. I got sick one time, pretty bad in, I don't know what it was, January, when we had like record freezing temps. For one night, I stayed at a family member's house, and another night, another 2 nights, I got a hotel room. That's how I handled it. That was like the first time I had to call out of work for about one day. I called out of work. That was the first time I called out of work in a long time. So what did I do? One night I spent at a family member's house just to get me to the next day. Then I got a hotel room for a couple nights. So again, when you're living below your means, I mean, when you're living very simply, you got maximum options. That's what I always say. Like, you're not in an episode of The Survivor. You're saving money. You can go to you can go to a hotel anytime you want. Just for fun. If you want to go to a hotel room, watch porn, order pizza, you can do that just for fun. You don't have to be sick. But what should you do on average? Just go get a hotel room for a week. If you got sick, right? A hotel room is the same thing as a house, and there's no commitment. You're renting it by the night. So that's what I would recommend. Good question. Or if you had a family member's house, I mean, it's up to you, but that's what you do, or friend or whatever. But I try to keep boundaries. I try to leave that for once in a while in a blue moon. Jerry, then when we upgrade to an RV. No, I hear that, Jerry. Well, that makes sense. Like I said, I would try, if you could, do a van, because I think that'll give you a little bit more room, a small cargo van. But you should do whatever you want. But yeah, if that's your goal to get an RV, then that will position you to save up more, and then you go from there. Chris, add Jerry. Check out the panel vans you can easily customize on a budget. Chevy, Astro, Ford, Ecoline, etc. Yeah, those are bigger cargo vans, and they're definitely, you can, a lot of room in them. For me, I would say a Ford Transit Connect, is plenty room. There actually is a couple on YouTube, young married couple. They live full-time, they camp in their Ford Transit Connect. Nissan NV200, Chevy City Express, those are all small cargo vans. Yes, you can't stand up in them, but 2 people could definitely live out of them if they wanted to. And let's see here. Janice, I have clothing and drawers for. Janice says, I have clothing and drawers for over 25 years, man. That's a long time. I hear that, Janice. Oh my God. Thank you for sharing that, Janice. B. Barry, hey Sam, big windstorm up here in Toronto. Really? That's what the guy who told me he likes the cold weather, he said that's where he wants to live. Well, he said he wanted to go up to Canada. B. Barry says, hey Sam, big windstorm in Toronto. Came home to find a window blow right off the hinges. Wow. I know what I'll be doing tomorrow. All that housework. B. Barry, somebody give me a throw up emoji. Love to you, brother. Love to you. Yeah, I hope you make it through that storm, man. That's the one thing I don't miss about a house, man. A lot of people I know, and I don't say this to spike the football in their face, but when you own a house, the weekend isn't for fun. The weekend is for working on your house. But some people enjoy that. So let me be fair. Some people enjoy working on their house. It's all relative to who you are. Knowing yourself is the key to all decisions. Andy G. Happiness is an inside job. Total truth. Amen and amen. If you can't make yourself happy, guess what? No one else can. What can happen is if you don't make yourself happy, you're going to look for it in a relationship. And when you do that, you get let down. Why do you get let down? Because the minute you put your happiness in someone else's hands, it's guaranteed they're going to drop it. Why? Because your happiness can't come from someone else. Someone else can add, someone else can enhance your happiness, but they can't give you your happiness. And if they give it to you for a day, it won't be for long before they let you down. And then you're the psycho stalking them, and you're in a bad mental place, and it's not going to end good. That's my life experience. Yolanda, Me, Myself, and I. Yes, that was also a funny Jim Carrey movie. Remember that movie, Me, Myself, and I? Or Me, Myself, and Irene. That was a good movie. I like that movie. SW, at Sam. At Sam. Here I go again on my own. Yes, White Stick. That's the song I was looking for. Yes, that's a good song. Thank you, SW. I like that song. That was a good song. Jerry. Okay, Chris. B. Berry. White Snake, here I go again. That was a good song. I remember that now. Here I go again on the road. Walking down the, yeah, that was a good song. I don't know where I'll be going, but I'm sure where I'll be hanging on the promise songs of yesterday. And I made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. That's a great song. I like that song. Good job, guys. Patrick, thoughts on a scamp 13 footer or 16 footer? Seems like a good compromise between mobility, low maintenance, and a level of space, and can be pulled anywhere by your vehicle. Older ones weigh 1,000, 1,200 pounds. Yes, one of the guys I watched on YouTube, he was considering that. Now, I think their height clearance is a little bit low, but what do you get? Okay, that's a good question. They're made out of Minnesota, I believe, too, and I believe they run, I don't know, maybe around $20,000. They're made to order if you buy new. Okay, you have to place an order, I believe, and it's going to take about 6 months for them to make, because they're made by order. You have to order them first, and then they make it unless you're going to buy new. The issue is, what do you get? When you have a small travel trailer like that, yes, it's a good compromise, but really, all you're doing is pulling a bed that you can just stand up in, and then you sit back down. I mean, what are you really going to do in that small thing? For me, this is only for me. It's my opinion. I think that's a good compromise, but really, what am I getting? I'm just pulling a bed. I mean, I realize that they have the little sink there. Do I need a sink? I don't need a sink. I don't know, but this is me. There's nothing really in that speaks to me. The only thing that would speak to me is that the ones that come with an air conditioning, because then obviously if you were at a campground with utilities or RV park, then you can hook up to an air conditioner if it was really, really hot, or a heater if it was really, really cold. But I mean, I don't know if that'd be a winterized one, because even that's another problem, right, with RVs, right? You can't just go in any climate. If you have an RV, even a scamp, if you're going in New Jersey in the middle of the winter, those pipes are going to crack. RVs aren't meant to be in a there are some with insulated pipes, but you still have to be very careful. So pretty much, you're already going to be in a moderate climate, or else that RV is going to not hold that well. And you're going to have the same issue you have in houses. That pipes freeze and they crack. And, anytime you have extreme temperature, that's going to play a part in that. So to me, yes, it's a good compromise, but the negative is, what do you really get? You get a little bit more space, but I don't really, for me, I think if that's what you want, I think you should do it. Why? Because I think you should always do what you want. It's your life. These are my thoughts on for me. I'm not lacking anything. The only thing I would probably like is, again, heating and air conditioning. But I can't justify that enough at this point to have an RV. I'm not willing to sacrifice that much freedom, because you sacrifice some. It's not that much, but you sacrifice some. But one day I could see myself in a 14-foot RV, small little things similar to a 13-foot scamp, and having a piece of land plotting it on it. So I'm not against it, right? Because I could see myself possibly doing it one day, but I'm not there mentally right now that it makes sense for me, and that I have that much of a desire to do it. When will you do something when your desire to do it is greater than your desire to stay where you're currently at? So right now, my desire and interest is not strong enough to do that. And that's how you know yourself well. What are your desires? What are your passions? Right now, what's totally inspiring me is the complete freedom and flexibility I have, and simplicity. At some point, especially as you get older, and you're done exploring a lot, you kind of found an area you want to stay in most of the time, then you may have a greater need for that room. But there's no one answer, I guess, also is what I'm saying, right? The answer lies within you, for you. But those are my thoughts, and there's the exception that you should always do what you want. Patrick, could double as a home on a piece of land, yes, but then we have all these more components and all these other anchors to our soul. But I do agree that I can consider that in the future. Last forever, yes, they're fiberglass and they are made relatively well. Don't leak, little maintenance, that's true. And hold value great, they tend to. Interior height is 6'1". Okay, it is up to 6'1", so you can just stand and clear a couple inches. Okay. You can get good condition miles for 70s to 90s for 4 to 9K. Well, I hear you. I don't like buying used. I understand, you don't want to buy new because it's a big depreciation. But When you buy used, you're not getting a deal, you're getting it for its value, right? It's a reason things are cheaper when they're used, because their value is less. That's what a lot of times people say, well, if I buy new, I don't want to buy new, I'll buy used. I'll buy after someone else took the depreciation on it, I'll buy it. You're not getting a steal, you're getting a depreciated asset. It's a reason it's valued at less than a new one, because it's not worth as much. It's got wear and tear on it. And even if it just sits on a lot, even if an RV is never used and it just sits on a lot for 2 years, weather erodes that piece of equipment. If you buy a car and you never drive it and it sits in your garage for 2 years and you sell it for that car still has wear and tear on it. Do I want to worry about getting an axle? But these are my thoughts on how I view that. So for me, all things considered, based on that scenario, wouldn't inspire me. Am I against it? No. I could see myself doing that one day down the road, possibly. But at this time, being anchored down to a piece of property, having more components, not gaining enough from it would not work for me. But it may work for you. And that's the key. You have to figure out what's going to work for you, because we're all different. And I like the comment, though, and it gave me a chance to think about that. Jimmy, rolling around on the hood of a Jaguar. I had a Jaguar S-Type for a while. I like it. Patrick. But I got that car / SUV is the ultimate simplicity and has advantages, more stealth, overnight options, better mileage, maneuverability, etc. Pat in Philly, love and respect to Philly and NJ. We're neighbors. Philadelphia and New Jersey are next door neighbors. Love and respect. Yeah, I mean, that's the key. I mean, the key to a van or a car is complete freedom. But you sacrifice some amenities, right? So our other brother, Patrick, is saying he's willing to sacrifice some freedom to gain some amenities. There's no right answer. It's an open question to what you want to do with your life. And I do give credit. Bob Wells, I remember at one time when I was researching this lifestyle, he has a great video that it basically says, look, the simpler your vehicle, the more freedom. The more complex your vehicle, the more amenities. So it's a trade-off. And that trade-off is based on your personality, your season of life, and what you want at that season of your life. What I want 2 years from now, 2 months from now, that may change. But right now, I want maximum freedom and flexibility. But down the road, I could see that changing. Life changes. But I'm just not there yet mentally, especially as I settle into a new job situation. Billy, do you carry a gun for protection? Love and respect to Billy from Tampa. No, I don't. I'm not against it. The scenarios in life that I've seen guns, I've never seen a person pull out a gun, be able to use it to protect themselves, and it be worth the other liabilities that come along with having a gun. I have seen people shoot themselves. I have seen people get in trouble with the law. And you can say, look, it's legal to have a gun, and if you lock it up properly, it's not an issue. But in most states, if you're going to drive around with your gun, even if you're able to legally do it, it's going to have to be locked up in a manner that if somebody bashed your car window in and you need to use it, the time you get it out of that locked safe or locked box and you loaded it up, because most guns, to be legally kept in a drive with, you have to unload them, keep the bullets separate, lock them up. I mean, every state has different laws, but what should you do? Look, you should do whatever you want. Everyone has their own life. What's the number one defense you have when you have when you live in a charged cell phone? Call the authorities the minute you feel unsafe. Have pepper spray. But again, what do you have to worry about Freddy Krueger? I mean, most cases, you're not going to get attacked. In most cases, it's not something you should fear. Certainly, there's one-offs, but on average, I don't think it's worth it. That's again how I come to that decision. I've thought about that, but on average, I don't think it's worth it. Because the amount of times that you'll actually be able to use a gun to self-defend legally and to be able to use it without... And two, is the other thing I've learned about guns is the minute you pull a gun out, it takes the it takes the event to a whole nother level. Okay, and there's no exact science to that. Sometimes you may feel that you need to pull that gun out, but sometimes when you pull that gun out, you may take someone else who's on the other end of that gun to a different level mentally than they were ready to go. And now, instead of maybe just wanting to rob you, now as soon as you pull that gun out, now you're gonna either kill them or they're gonna kill you. The one thing I can tell you, if you have a gun, if you pull it out on somebody, I mean, you got to be prepared to use it. And that's yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people say they'll use a gun, they'll shoot somebody, but until you've seen it, you got to be mindful, and it can change your life. And if you don't have, I know people say, well, I'll shoot somebody and I'll justify it in court later. Let me tell you something. You better be able to prove that self-defense too if you use that thing. That's not an exact science a lot of times. So there's just too much downside versus upside at this point in my life. Now, again, I leave my mind open to change my mind at any time. And it's all relative to your life experience. I mean, and who you are and what you want to do. But I believe in self-defense. I mean, obviously, if your life is in danger, I mean, you have the right to protect yourself by all means necessary. So I'm not against self-defense. I'm not against guns necessarily. So it's another personal decision. That's my thoughts on it. Chris, good night, folks. Chris, love to you, man. Peace. Sam, thank you for showing up as always and being you. All caps forward. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for being you. Peace to you, brother. Love to you. M93. Break is over. Back to the job. Trooping thing. I have to see some complete stream later. Sam, sending you much love. Thank you for sharing your life, because it's made a difference in mine. Thank you. Keep trooping, all caps. Thank you, M. Thank you, M. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I know I'm a little bit rambling tonight, but I got to keep it free-flowing. Thank you, M. Thank you. Janice, just found parking/storage as a category in Craigslist. A couple for $150. Well, yeah, I mean, that's another option, too. I have known people that rent driveways. I think I did a video on that early on. You can rent driveways from some people. Because again, that's the whole thing. In most places, it's legal to live in your car. The issue is you have to find a legal spot that you can park there and sleep there. So certainly if you're on someone else's property lawfully, and you have that agreement, you can sleep in your car. So same thing as camping, right? Like you have to remember that, when you sleep in your car, all you're doing is camping, and your car is your tent. Okay, so it's not much difference. It's actually a more advanced tent than there is out there. So, but yeah, I mean, you can rent a driveway. Again, I think if you're going to rent from a friend or family member, just be mindful of boundaries. But I mean, the good thing about it is, look, if it really got bad, I mean, look, all you got to do is start your car and leave. It's not like, you're embedded in that situation. So yeah, that's an option too. But you got to be careful because you want to feel safe. And again, to me, it goes back to, it's good for a one-off. It goes back to being anchored down, right? I think Angelina from today that even rent, buying property anchors you down mentally and yes, financially, and so does signing a rent agreement. There's an anchor there, if not mentally and financially. So but sometimes it's worth it though, right? I mean, so because again, if you're going to spend, especially as gas goes up, if you're going to spend $30 a night to travel to a spot that you're going to park, I mean, 30 times 30 is what? What's that? $900? $900 a month, something like that. So it's like, if you're gonna spend $30 a day in traveling expenses, then you may be better off renting someplace, for a couple $100 a month. But it's interesting. It's an interesting topic. Pat, scams are $13K new. Are they that cheap? Wow, that's cheap. That's interesting. That's not well. Then yeah, definitely it's a no-brainer. If you wanted to get a scam, then it's a no-brainer. I mean, buy new. Why buy new? Just buy new, because that's relatively very inexpensive. But I didn't think they were that cheap. But that's great. Yeah, if you want to do it, I say go for it, man. The best decision is the one you want to make. Pat, okay, yeah, it does take 6 months to build. Yeah, because the guy I was watching on YouTube, he was going to do that. He was long-term camping in his Prius, and he was looking at a scamp. He eventually bought a Clipper Coachman Cadet 16-footer for $10,000. And that's what I would do. I when I was in Florida, I did a video. There was a small, what was it called? There was a small RV I saw, brand new one for $10,000. I would get something like that. You can get a brand new RV for a travel trailer for $10,000, very basic. So a Scamp, it's a little bit more money. Why? Because it is a fiberglass and it's lighter, and that's where the extra value is. A little bit better made. So yeah, it's an interesting topic. Good comments, brother. Repeat, Sam. Hey, what's up? Repeat, been busy. Hope your day is okay. Yes, day's been good. Thank you, Repeat. Glad to see you, and glad that you're getting a break finally. Great body camera, and you'll be fine. Yes, that's true. I mean, yeah, I do have cameras. I mean, you do keep things digitally documented, for the most part. That's how cops prove innocence. No, I mean, I do believe in documentation, so it's a point. But again, what's your biggest defense? Is it's a charged cell phone, okay? Because chances are, if your cell phone isn't charged, your camera, that your body camera ain't going to be charged. And look, I know it sounds good in theory. All right, there's difference between theory and practicality. It sounds good in theory to have a gun and a body camera, but the reality is, practicality, when you're going to need your gun, you're not going to have your body camera running. It's not going to be charged. Your gun is going to be somewhere locked up. If you're going to keep, very few people are sleeping with their gun under their pillow, loaded up with one in the chamber, with their body camera charged and on their forehead. So that's the reality of life. The reality of life, that's not reality. The reality of life is it doesn't happen like that. In most cases, are there exceptions? I've never seen an exception where somebody was wearing a fully charged body camera. They had a gun with them, one in the chamber. They used it for self-defense. They were able to prove it in court, and they were a hero. I've seen it go the opposite way more than that way. But again, I'm not against it. It's just that you got to think about these things. But I'm not against it. Look, if you can do things legit and that's what you want to do, I'm not against anyone wanting to do that. I'm not mad at that. And I believe in self-defense. So, Jerry, good night. Jerry, love and respect to you. Thank you for your comments. Peace to you, brother. Stacy! Night, Sam. Night. Thank you for listening to me ramble tonight. Pat, enjoying the channel. Good night. Pat, we love you. Thank you for the great comments. Good luck on your journey. Appreciate you. Pat, haha, body camera on forehead. Good to laugh. Pat, sorry, Gray. It's a funny image. No, Gray, we love you. We respect Gray, and I hear Gray. Gray makes a great comment. I do believe it's wisdom to document everything. So, Gray, got love for Gray. Love for everyone. All right, guys, on that note, I think we're going to end it. I know I rambled a little bit tonight, but I appreciate, respect, and love everyone. I want everyone to live the best quality life for them. Always remember that in these videos, I'm giving you my opinion, my perspective. Do I want you to blindly follow that? No, I want you to live your own life. I want you to live it responsibly and safe, and don't get involved in drama, but live your own life, and inspire yourself, man. God bless, man. Thank you, everyone.